Listen closely. If these words have found you, it's not coincidence. Something beyond time is calling you. You are being pulled by an unseen current through layers of probability to receive this exact message before the doorway of 2026 opens. You were never scrolling aimlessly. The quantum field guided you here. The moment you hear these words, your timeline begins to shimmer. Choices realigning, timelines collapsing, destiny rearranging itself to remember you. This is not content. This is an activation. And if you turn away now, the echo of this truth may never return again. The timeline is not what you think it is. You've been conditioned to see life as a straight line, a march from past to future, from what was to what will be. But that is only how the human mind perceives movement. In truth, time is not a river flowing in one direction. It is an ocean, infinite and simultaneous, where every potential already exists, waiting for consciousness to tune itself to one stream or another. What you call 2026 is not a date on a calendar. It is a vibrational corridor, a convergence of frequencies that will amplify whatever reality you are resonating with. Some will experience it as acceleration, as quantum expansion, as sudden alignment with purpose and clarity. Others will experience it as contraction, chaos, and the crumbling of illusions. Both are true, both are valid. The difference lies not in the external world, but in the frequency you inhabit when the corridor opens. You may have already felt the subtle pull of this shift, the strange sense that time is speeding up, that days blur, that events overlap as if multiple versions of you are walking in parallel. That sensation is not your imagination, it's your consciousness becoming sensitive to timeline convergence. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, vibrates through the field and selects a new strand of potential. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. You are the axis around which realities rearrange themselves. When you understand this, life ceases to feel random. You begin to see that the things, people, and synchronicity showing up now are not coincidences but markers, quantum breadcrumbs guiding you toward the version of yourself that is already complete. The 2026 threshold, then, is not something to fear. It is the next octave of collective vibration, a mirror magnifying your current state. If you carry incoherence, it will echo louder. If you carry clarity, it will manifest faster. The field is neutral. It does not reward or punish. It reflects. And yet, most of humanity still believes in the illusion of linear struggle, that to change their life, they must wait for years, work harder, or earn worthiness through suffering. But time does not respond to effort, it responds to alignment. You can struggle for decades in one timeline and achieve nothing, then surrender into coherence for a single moment and shift everything. That is the paradox of quantum reality. What seems slow to the human self can change instantly from the perspective of the field. Imagine your consciousness as a radio receiver. Each frequency corresponds to a reality. One station plays the life of scarcity, another the life of abundance, another the life of awakened purpose. The content of each broadcast already exists. You do not create the song, you tune to it. The only reason you haven't heard the higher symphony is because your dial has been fixed to static, the noise of doubt, fear, and habitual thought. The invitation before 2026 is to turn the dial, to quiet the distortion, to choose the signal deliberately. Because once the amplification begins, whatever you are tuned to will become undeniable. So when we say, the timeline of 2026, we are not predicting an event. We are describing a field resonance, a vibrational amplification of consciousness. The planet is entering a coherence window where dormant codes within humanity will awaken. For some, that will feel like revelation, for others, resistance. It depends on whether you are flowing with the current or fighting it. Think of it as a wave rising across the collective field. You can surf it effortlessly or be tumbled beneath it, but the wave itself is neither good nor bad. It simply reveals what was hidden beneath the surface. You might notice old memories surfacing, patterns looping back, emotions intensifying. That is not regression. It is the compression of timelines. The parts of you that were scattered across time are now returning to be reintegrated. The past isn't haunting you, it's merging. The field is preparing you for coherence, not perfection, but wholeness. And the faster you forgive, release, and realign, the smoother the passage becomes. Understand this: you have already shifted countless times. Every major realization, every moment of deep choice, every time you said, no more, or, I am ready. Those were quantum jumps. You have died and been reborn more times than you can count. Only the transitions were gentle enough for your mind to mistake them for continuity. 2026 represents a collective version of that same process, a mass remembrance, a planetary reboot of timelines, and you, hearing this now, are among the ones who chose to awaken consciously before it happens. You are the forerunner of a reality not yet stabilized, the living proof that timelines respond to consciousness first. There will be those who say nothing has changed. They will point to the same world, the same conflicts, the same fears, and say, "See, everything continues as before." But those who have eyes to see will perceive the shimmering difference, the subtle acceleration of synchronicities, the sudden manifestation of long-held visions, the unmistakable feeling that something vast and unseen is moving through reality. Those who align will not need to explain. Their presence will broadcast the shift itself. So do not measure your progress by what the outer world shows you. Measure it by the frequency you can hold when everything appears uncertain. The old paradigm demanded control. The new one asks for coherence. The more you trust your inner stillness, the faster the outer timelines rearrange to reflect it. This is how you travel through time, not by moving forward, but by becoming present enough for the next reality to unfold within you. Before 2026 begins, the field will test every soul's alignment, not as punishment, but as purification. It will magnify the frequencies that are ready to stabilize and dissolve those that are not. So when life begins to feel unstable, remember you are not falling apart. The timeline is. The structure that kept you small cannot follow you into coherence. You are shedding densities that cannot survive the frequency of what is coming, and when it feels like you are being stretched between worlds, part of you still rooted in the old, part of you sensing the new, know that this is precisely how timelines dissolve. You are standing in the in-between, the quantum corridor where the future remembers the past, and the past forgives the future. This is the moment of alignment, the breath before creation, the silence before the next symphony begins. Stay here a little longer, feel it. Time is not moving, you are. The 2026 timeline is already humming, waiting for those who can hear the signal. And now that this message has reached you, you cannot unhear it. The question is not whether the shift will come. It is which frequency will you inhabit when it does. Reality is not a fixed stage upon which you act. It is a living mirror, breathing with your every thought, shifting with your every feeling. What you call the world is not happening to you. It is happening through you, reflecting back the frequencies you project into the field. Every emotion, every belief, every whisper of expectation ripples across the quantum fabric, summoning events that match its tone. This is not metaphor. It is physics beyond the limits of perception. The field does not judge. It simply arranges itself in obedience to the signal you broadcast. Think of yourself as both sender and receiver in a vast communication with creation itself. When you radiate fear, you tune to timelines that confirm that fear. When you radiate coherence, a harmony between mind, heart, and energy, the field bends to mirror that stability. It is not a reward for goodness. It is resonance meeting itself. The field doesn't know good or bad, only frequency. It cannot distinguish between a fearful visualization and a loving one. It amplifies both according to their strength. This is why so many remain trapped in cycles they consciously wish to escape. They think change is achieved through control, but control is a vibration of lack. The field hears, "I don't have what I want," and so it delivers more proof of absence. The illusion that effort moves reality has kept humanity circling the same patterns for centuries. You have been told to push, to chase, to conquer, to earn your peace by defeating chaos. But the moment you push against reality, you create tension, and tension collapses possibilities. Reality bends not to willpower, but to coherence. Coherence is when your inner world no longer argues with itself. When thought, emotion, and energy hum in one tone. That tone is what opens doors without visible effort, what causes synchronicities to align as if guided by invisible hands. Before 2026, this truth becomes unmistakable. The field itself is accelerating, amplifying whatever state is dominant within you. The anxious will see more reasons to worry, and the peaceful will experience miraculous ease. The difference between these experiences will widen like two diverging streams. Those clinging to external control will feel time collapsing, opportunities slipping away. Those resting in inner harmony will find time stretching, bending, reorganizing to support their path. Nothing outside is changing. Perception is simply splitting according to resonance. If you listen closely, you can already feel this. Some days seem to flow effortlessly. You think of someone and they call, doors open before you, insights arrive in perfect timing. Then, without warning, the current tightens. Everything feels resistant, heavy, delayed. You might think something out there has shifted. but it is always the inner field first. Your emotional signature decides which version of the day you step into. Even now, infinite versions of this moment exist. The one you experience depends on the signal you sustain. This is why awareness is everything. Not forced positivity, not denial, but conscious witnessing of your own vibration. The moment you become aware of what you're feeling, you lift it out of unconscious creation. Awareness untangles the knots. The universe does not require you to be perfect, only present. For presence is the highest frequency, the original coherence before fear was learned. Each time you return to stillness, the field recalibrates and reality reorganizes to reflect your clarity. You may wonder how this relates to the timeline of 2026. It is because that timeline acts like an amplifier of presence. It is the point where the collective vibration magnifies individual states. You will no longer be able to hide behind contradiction. If you say you trust but secretly fear, reality will expose the dissonance immediately. The veil between thought and manifestation will grow thinner. Creation will answer faster, whether to your coherence or to your chaos. This is not a threat, it is liberation. The latency between signal and result has been humanity's greatest teacher, but also its greatest disguise. The buffer of time allowed contradiction to persist. That buffer is dissolving. When you understand that reality mirrors you instantly, blame falls away. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and recognize the precise artistry of the feedback. Every encounter, every delay, every repetition is a mirror held lovingly by the field saying, "This is what you are sending. Would you like to continue broadcasting it?" Nothing is punishment. Everything is feedback. And the moment you stop resisting the reflection changes. This is why healing is not about fixing wounds but integrating frequencies. The pain you feel is a dense vibration seeking coherence. When you meet it without judgment, its resistance dissolves and the energy returns to flow. The outer world then rearranges effortlessly, because it was always an echo of the inner one. Imagine how powerful that makes you, not powerful in the sense of domination, but as the conscious conductor of existence. The more gently you direct your own state, the more gracefully the universe responds. Do you see the paradox? The moment you stop trying to control life, life becomes obedient to you. The moment you stop chasing manifestations, they begin to seek you. When you abandon the need to prove worthiness, the field rushes to confirm that you always were. Control is the language of separation. Surrender, not as resignation but as alignment, is the language of creation. As 2026 approaches, the invitation is to master this subtle art of energetic honesty. Every time you feel frustration, pause and ask not, "Why is this happening?" but, "What am I vibrating?" Every time you feel lack, instead of grasping outward, breathe and remember reality is catching up to your last signal. Shift the signal, and the mirror will shift. This is the secret ancient mystics encoded in their prayers and mantras, not pleading with distant gods, but recalibrating their own field into harmony with the divine frequency already present. And here lies the quiet grace of this awakening. You don't have to force the shift. Awareness itself is the shift. The moment you see that your reality is a mirror, you are no longer trapped inside it. You become the observer, the artist, the dreamer within the dream. The mirror softens. The field begins to shimmer. You realize that you never needed to move the mountains, only to remember that you are the one projecting the landscape. So as this message finds you, let it sink into your cells. Reality is not fixed, and the world is not waiting to be changed. It is waiting to be remembered as your reflection. Before the timeline of 2026 begins, understand this truth deeply: your state is your destiny. Align it now, and the coming wave will carry you effortlessly into coherence. Resist it, and the wave will still carry you, but it will feel like drowning instead of flight. The choice is not in the future, it is in this breath, this emotion, this moment. The field is listening. It always has been, and now it is responding faster than ever. Waiting is one of the subtlest illusions the human mind has ever created. It feels patient, even spiritual, yet beneath it hides the same vibration of lack that fuels struggle. Waiting assumes that what you seek is separate from you, existing somewhere ahead, and that time must deliver it. But time does not deliver, it only reveals. You are not waiting for your manifestation, your healing, your purpose. They are waiting for you to match their frequency. The moment you stop postponing your presence, the field collapses distance, and what seemed far becomes inevitable. The quantum field does not understand later, it only knows now. Every time you tell yourself, "I'm not ready," or "one day it will happen," the field mirrors that command perfectly. It freezes reality at the exact vibration of postponement. You become suspended in almost manifestation, living always at the edge of breakthrough but never crossing it. This is why so many chase spiritual signs, always seeking, never receiving. They do not realize that the act of seeking sustains separation. The ones who find do not chase. They remember. They step into alignment now, even before proof appears, and reality has no choice but to conform. Look at how nature moves. A seed does not wait for permission to sprout. It doesn't consult the calendar or question its worthiness. When the conditions within are right, it breaks open. Not because it was told to, but because bursting into life is its nature. The human soul is no different. Every desire that stirs within you is not something to pursue. It is something trying to emerge through you. The more you chase it, the further you push it away. The more you allow it, the faster it unfolds. This is the paradox of the new timeline. Manifestation happens when you stop trying to manifest. Waiting keeps consciousness anchored in linear time, the illusion that now is incomplete and the future holds completion. But in the quantum realm, future and now coexist as waves of potential. By emotionally waiting, you are vibrating with the absence of what you desire, choosing a timeline where fulfillment is perpetually delayed. When you embody the energy of already having, the future collapses into the present. That's what miracles are, temporal shortcuts created by coherence. You may say, but I must prepare, I must be ready. Yet readiness is not built through time, it is recognized through trust. The energy that keeps saying soon can say no, and reality will obey. It is not arrogance to claim your readiness, it is remembrance. The quantum field listens to certainty. Every time you embody your desired self, not pretending, but feeling it as truth, you are moving through timelines faster than thought can measure. You are not creating the future, you are tuning into the one that already exists. In the old paradigm, people prayed for answers, begged for timing, waited for external confirmation. In the new paradigm, prayer becomes a state of being, gratitude before evidence, peace before resolution. You begin to live as if the miracle already happened, and in doing so, you collapse the distance between cause and effect. It is no longer about asking, when will it come, but realizing, it has already come, I am only catching up to it. Waiting dissolves into knowing. The field cannot resist a coherent signal. When you hold a frequency of completion, it must reorganize to match you. The universe does not withhold blessings, it withholds contradictions. It cannot deliver abundance to a vibration of lack or love to a vibration of fear. So before 2026, the great lesson is not in waiting for the door to open, but in realizing the door opens from within. The knob has always been in your hand. Sometimes, this shift feels uncomfortable because the mind equates doing nothing with losing control. But this is not inaction. It is precise alignment. You are not being told to abandon movement, but to move from coherence rather than fear. Action born from waiting carries distortion. Action born from knowing carries power. The first says, I must do this so it will happen. The second says, I do this because it has already happened. One chases, the other receives. The field feels the difference instantly. Can you sense how this changes the rhythm of your life? The constant forward lean into, what's next, begins to relax. The breath deepens. You start noticing subtle guidance, the intuitive impulse, the synchronous encounter, the effortless opportunity. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations that you have exited the waiting frequency. The universe rushes to meet you the moment you stop running from it. Many people fear that if they stop striving, they'll stagnate. But striving and stagnation are the same vibration. Both come from believing you are not yet there. When you rest in presence, creation begins to flow without resistance. The paradox is that surrender generates movement faster than effort ever could. You stop forcing and start allowing, and suddenly everything you've been reaching for begins reaching for you. As 2026 approaches, this understanding becomes vital. The collective field will magnify the energies of impatience and trust alike. Those who continue waiting for proof will feel increasing tension, as if reality is speeding past them. Those who embody presence will experience acceleration in the opposite sense, not chaos, but effortless unfolding. Time itself will seem to obey them, bending to their calm rather than their urgency. So listen carefully, you are not behind. You are not late. You have not missed anything. The idea that you must catch up to your destiny is an illusion maintained by the ego's fear of stillness. The soul already stands at the destination. It is the mind that must travel, and every time you relax into the now, the distance between them closes. Waiting ends not because the outer world changes, but because the inner one finally stops running. If you can understand this before the threshold of 2026, you will move through the coming acceleration with grace. While others search for signs, you will recognize the sign was always you. You are the event you've been anticipating, the alignment you've been waiting to feel. The moment you accept that, the field stops echoing delay and begins to echo fulfillment. The next timeline doesn't arrive from outside, it blooms from your coherence. So let this message reach you before the habit of waiting silences it. Do not postpone your awakening until the world looks ready. The world will mirror your readiness. Stop asking when your time will come. It already has. The field is listening, poised to mirror the frequency you hold in this breath. Breathe as though you are already living the reality you desire, because the moment you do, you are, and the age of waiting is over. The moment you begin to awaken, something deep within you starts to tremble. It is not fear, though it may feel like it. It is the old self realizing it cannot cross into the next frequency with you. Every identity you have worn, every label, role, defense, and story, was built for a world that is now dissolving. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding versions that were never you to begin with. This is the collapse of the old self, the gentle unraveling of what was once necessary for survival, but has become too dense for the timeline that is forming ahead. You may feel a strange emptiness as this happens, as though parts of you are fading or no longer responding to the same desires, the same people, the same motivations. What once felt urgent may now feel irrelevant. The friendships, goals, and routines that defined you might suddenly feel like echoes from another life. Do not panic. You are not breaking down. You are being rewritten by coherence. The field is recalibrating your frequency, stripping away distortion so your energy can flow without resistance. The emptiness is not absence, it is clearing. It is the sacred pause before rebirth. The mind resists this process because its entire purpose has been to preserve identity. It will try to fix, to analyze, to rebuild the old scaffolding. But you cannot carry the architecture of the old world into a higher frequency. Each attempt to rebuild what's falling apart will exhaust you because you are trying to stabilize something that no longer exists in this timeline. The paradox is that surrender, not effort, allows integration. When you stop trying to hold the structure together, the energy once trapped within those patterns finally becomes available to you. You are not losing power. You are reclaiming it from old versions of yourself. Many mistake this stage for failure. They think, I was manifesting, I was aligned, and now everything is falling apart. But falling apart is how alignment clears what cannot remain. The collapsing relationships, the shifting careers, the inner silence where motivation used to live. These are not signs of regression. They are signs that your frequency has changed, and reality is catching up. The old self built its life on tension, on compromise, on managing perception. The new self needs none of that. It operates from resonance, not reaction. It attracts, it does not chase. It creates, it does not control. There will be moments when the dissolution feels personal, as if life is taking things from you. But life is not taking, it is returning you to yourself. Every loss is a liberation disguised as grief. You will not understand it immediately, but with time, or rather, with perspective, you will see that what left was never meant to stay at this vibration. You can honor it, bless it, even mourn it, but you cannot bring it with you. The lighter your energy becomes, the less you can hold on to density without feeling its drag. During this metamorphosis, your nervous system becomes the bridge between worlds. You might feel waves of intensity, bursts of emotion with no story attached, exhaustion that comes from nowhere, a deep need for stillness. The body is releasing timelines, rewriting its chemistry to match your evolving light signature. Rest is not laziness in this phase, it is sacred work. You are integrating energy that once required lifetimes to process. Be patient with the body. It is learning to hold frequencies that used to belong only to your higher self. You will also notice the strange quiet that follows the collapse. At first, it feels like nothingness, a void. The ego panics in this silence, desperate to fill it with old distractions. But the void is not emptiness, it is potential. It is the quantum zero point, the space where new realities gestate before they are seen. Do not rush to fill it. Sit in it, breathe in it, listen. It hums with the next version of you already forming. You are witnessing the creative pulse before manifestation, the silent breath between endings and beginnings. Understand that in the collapse, you are safest. The unknown may look like chaos, but it is divine order reasserting itself. The structures that are disintegrating were not stable. They were temporary constructs of identity trying to control infinity. When you let them go, you discover that what you thought was the ground beneath you was never the true foundation. The real ground has always been consciousness itself, the awareness that witnesses all forms but is bound to none. This is what survives every death. The coming years, especially as the frequency intensifies toward 2026, will magnify this purification. Many will interpret it as crisis, but you will know it as release. The field will bring up every hidden attachment, every unhealed pattern, not to punish you but to free you. Each confrontation, each emotional wave, each unexpected ending is the universe asking, do you still need this identity to feel safe? And your surrender will answer for you. What emerges after this is not a new identity, but something far deeper. Presence. You will no longer identify with being the healer, the seeker, the achiever, the one who must become. You will rest as the awareness that already contains all those expressions without being confined by any. This is what it means to cross the threshold of timelines. The old self collapses so that the infinite self can breathe through the human form. So if everything around you feels unstable, if you sense the ground shifting, breathe. You are not losing control, you are regaining alignment. The discomfort is the sound of the old frequencies cracking under the weight of your expansion. Let them fall. You will not need them where you are going. Every surrender opens the next gate. Every release creates space for the true signal of your essence to broadcast clearly through the field. And when the dust settles, when the noise quiets, you will feel something extraordinary, lightness, a calm that does not depend on outcomes, a sense of home that cannot be lost again. The field will mirror it instantly. Relationships born from resonance, opportunities aligned with purpose, time itself bending to your coherence. You will realize that nothing was ever taken from you. It was only the shadow of the self dissolving so the true form could emerge. This is the death that is not death, the awakening within the collapse. And when you step out of it, radiant and unburdened, you will understand why it all had to fall apart, not because you failed, but because you finally remembered who you have always been beneath the noise. The still point through which timelines unfold, untouched, eternal and free. There is a moment, so subtle that most never notice it, when reality offers you a doorway. It does not arrive with thunder or bright lights, but as a quiet nudge in the chest, a flicker of knowing, an unexplainable pull toward something that feels like truth. This is the hidden gate of choice, and it appears not in the grand moments of life, but in the ordinary ones. A thought, a whisper, a sudden calm that interrupts chaos. All of these are signals from the field inviting you to align with a higher frequency. The mind calls them coincidences, the soul knows they are coordinates. Every soul will meet this gate before the timeline of 2026 begins. It is the point at which the old loop ends and a new one becomes available. For some, it will come as a conversation overheard at the perfect moment, a video that finds them, a dream that lingers longer than usual. For others, it will come as discomfort, a restlessness with what used to feel safe, a sense that something invisible is pressing against the walls of their current reality. The gate can appear as inspiration or crisis, but its essence is the same. It is life asking, are you ready to choose differently? Choice in the quantum sense is not about behavior, it is about frequency. You can choose something with your words while your energy still clings to the opposite. The field responds to vibration, not vocabulary. This is why so many believe they have chosen change but still experience the same patterns. Their energy never moved, only their minds did. The hidden gate asks for total coherence, thought, emotion, and energy aligned toward one signal. To walk through it, you must decide not only with intention but with embodiment. You must become the frequency of the reality you seek. At first, this feels paradoxical. How can you embody something that hasn't happened yet? But in truth, the moment you feel it, it has happened. Within the field, all potentials already exist. The act of choosing is not summoning a new reality into existence. It is selecting one that was waiting for your recognition. The universe does not decide your fate. It mirrors your signal. So when you choose from fear, you magnetize more evidence of limitation. When you choose from love, the entire structure of reality begins to rearrange around that frequency. This is the quiet mastery that the awakened ones learn before the amplification of 2026. They understand that the grand shifts are made in silence, that reality bends at the level of energy, not effort. The gate of choice opens for everyone, but only those who are still enough to hear the whisper recognize it. The rest are too busy analyzing the noise, seeking confirmation, demanding signs, unaware that the sign has already been given in the feeling that won't go away. That feeling is not confusion, it is calling. The field does not test you, it synchronizes with you. When opportunities dissolve or directions close, it is not rejection but redirection. The path of coherence often requires the dissolution of the familiar, because the familiar was built at a different frequency. You cannot hold on to both the old vibration and the new one. The energies cancel each other out. This is why, when you stand before the gate, life often feels like it's falling apart. The old reality is making room for the choice you are about to embody. And yet many hesitate. They wait for clarity before moving, not realizing that clarity comes through movement, not before it. The gate remains open for a time, shimmering between timelines, waiting for you to step forward without proof. This is the art of quantum faith, trusting the resonance more than the logic. Every time you have followed that quiet knowing, you've entered a higher timeline, even if you didn't realize it. The moments that shaped your destiny were never the ones you analyzed. They were the ones you surrendered to. As the collective field approaches this threshold, the invitations will multiply. You will feel timelines overlapping, one echoing the life you could remain in, another humming with the life that awaits your courage. The difference between them will not be visible at first, it will be energetic. One will drain your light, the other will expand it. The key is to follow what feels lighter, even when it makes no logical sense. The mind calculates safety. The soul recognizes resonance. When you choose from resonance, the field responds instantly. People appear, opportunities align, synchronicities cluster around you like stars forming a constellation. You might think these are miracles, but they are simply confirmations that your signal is clear. You are no longer in conflict with yourself. The gate does not close behind you, it dissolves, because once coherence is reached, there is nothing left to pass through. You have become the frequency itself. The paradox is that everyone is given the same gate, but few recognize it, not because they are unworthy, but because they are distracted. The world trains you to look for signs outside, in outcomes, validations, predictions, yet the real sign is always internal. It is the gentle but persistent awareness that something in your life no longer fits, coupled with the quiet certainty that another way exists. That tension is sacred. It is the threshold between timelines. You are not broken for feeling it, you are being summoned. As 2026 approaches, the energy of choice will amplify across the collective field. Those who remain unconscious of their signal will feel tossed by forces they cannot name. Those who choose consciously will experience acceleration, not through effort, but through alignment. The hidden gate is not reserved for mystics or saints. It is available to every being willing to listen. The only requirement is honesty, the willingness to admit what you already know, even if it means letting go of everything that kept you comfortable. And when you finally choose, when you breathe deeply, release resistance, and say yes without needing to understand how, you will feel something subtle shift in the atmosphere. The air becomes lighter, time stretches, your inner vision sharpens. You will sense that the path is forming beneath your feet even as you walk it. This is how reality responds to coherence. The universe does not reward bravery, it harmonizes with it. So when the next whisper comes, when the invisible hand of intuition tugs gently at your heart, do not wait for certainty. The certainty will come after. The gate of choice never opens twice in the same way, because it adjusts to your evolution. Trust that what you are drawn toward is not random. It is your higher self arranging a meeting between who you were and who you are becoming. Step through, even trembling. The field will catch you, because in truth, the moment you choose from the frequency of your future, you are no longer walking toward it. It is walking toward you. The timelines collapse into one luminous now, and what once felt like destiny becomes remembrance. You will look back and realize that the gate was never outside you. It was always your own readiness disguised as invitation. The moment you step through the gate of choice, something irreversible begins. Reality starts to fold around you differently, almost as if it recognizes you again after a long forgetting. The air feels charged, but quieter. Things that used to feel distant begin to draw near with impossible precision. It's not that the world has changed overnight, it's that you have. Your frequency has become coherent, and the field has no choice but to mirror that coherence back to you in form, opportunity, and synchronicity. This is what the ancient mystics meant when they spoke of becoming one with creation. It isn't about control, it's about resonance. When you reach this state, You stop chasing manifestations because you understand that everything that truly belongs to your frequency cannot miss you. You realize that the universe is not something you must persuade, it is something you must match. The ones who awaken before the timeline of 2026 will live from this truth. They will become living transmitters of coherence, walking reminders that miracles are not supernatural, they are simply natural responses to alignment. Reality bends where energy stabilizes, and so the ones who master their state will move through timelines like still water cutting through stone. To the untrained eye, this will look like luck or divine favor, but you will know it as attunement. You will no longer oscillate between doubt and faith, grasping and releasing. You will rest in a deeper rhythm, a kind of quiet certainty that makes things move without you needing to push. The paradox is that the less you strive, the faster things align. The less you chase, the more you receive. This is the new physics of consciousness. What you embody, you attract. What you resist, you sustain. What you love, you dissolve into. And yet, even in this awakened state, humility becomes the key. The field continues to mirror your evolution. And so the moment you believe you have mastered it, the reflection shifts again, inviting deeper surrender. This is the eternal dance between the self and the source, one remembering itself through infinite reflections. 2026 marks not an end but an amplification. Every thought, every emotion, every subtle vibration you carry will echo louder across the grid of collective consciousness. It is a time when the veils thin, and the inner becomes the outer almost instantly. This is why coherence now is not optional, it is essential. Those who continue to anchor in fear will find their fears materializing faster than ever before, not as punishment but as reflection. Those who stabilize in love will find their desires arriving almost effortlessly, not as reward but as resonance. The field does not judge, it simply translates vibration into experience. And as this amplification unfolds, you will begin to see how every interaction, every delay, every coincidence was never random. It was all choreography, subtle, deliberate, exact. The field was never against you, it was always calibrating you to remember your power. You may find that relationships shift, not out of loss but completion. You may find that your desires evolve, that what once felt urgent now feels irrelevant. This is not regression, it is refinement. As your frequency clarifies, the distortions dissolve. You begin to see that what you called manifestation was always self-recognition, that what you called destiny was simply your energy meeting itself in form. The joy that comes from this realization is unlike the temporary highs of achievement. It is steady, luminous, quiet, a joy that doesn't need a reason. When you move from this space, everything you do becomes sacred. Every conversation becomes transmission. Every breath becomes alignment. You no longer speak to convince, you speak to remember. You no longer seek to be understood, you radiate understanding. You no longer chase purpose, you embody it. This is the quantum return, the moment when the external world bends around your inner stillness, and all things that are truly yours find their way back home to you. And yet, there is still one final revelation. The field will not stop expanding. The moment you stabilize, it will invite you to expand again. The evolution of consciousness is infinite. Coherence is not a destination but a rhythm. You are both the traveler and the terrain, the sound and the silence, the seeker and the found. When you grasp this paradox fully, life ceases to be a struggle against time. You begin to live as time's author, not its prisoner. The years ahead will not unfold at you but through you. You will no longer ask, when will my reality change? Because you will know that reality is you, refracted through choice, emotion, and attention. And so, as the threshold of 2026 draws closer, remember this, the door you are seeking is already open. The waiting is over. The search has served its purpose. All that remains is embodiment, moment by moment, breath by breath. The quantum field is not testing you, it is listening to you. Speak through vibration, not fear. Command through coherence, not control. Love what is unresolved until it transforms under your gaze. You are the bridge between timelines, the observer through which reality learns its own name. This message did not find you by accident. You were guided here because something in your field was ready to awaken, ready to remember that reality was never something happening to you, but something unfolding as you. The next timeline will not wait for permission. It will respond to precision. Choose consciously. Anchor in stillness. Let your presence do the work your words never could. And now, before the timeline of 2026 begins, take a deep breath and listen, not to these words, but to the silence beneath them. Feel the vibration that led you here. Recognize it as your own. The message has completed its loop. It has returned to its sender, you. So, if this resonates in the quiet part of your being, don't let it pass. Let it settle. Let it activate. Let it spread through your field until everything you touch begins to remember too. Like, share, speak it, live it. Because what you integrate, you transmit, and what you transmit, you transform. This message has found you exactly when it was meant to. Now, before the next timeline begins, awaken, align, and receive.